Holy moly, rock and rolly. Guys, it is Wednesday. My name is Ron Williams. And if you are here today, first of all, I apologize. I'm running a few minutes late. To tell you what, this morning started early, and it's just been like go, go, go all stinking morning. But I wanted to hop on today. And so today's Wednesday. Every Wednesday, I like to jump on in both of our Facebook groups, New Home Niche Blueprint, as well as the Affiliate Realtor Group, and want to share with you some quick tips to help you with your new construction journey, growing your niche market as a realtor new construction. And I've got something for you today that I love teaching this. Let me real quickly here before I get going with this, and this could be kind of a short training today. I'm going to give you a bunch of tips that are very specific to new construction buyers. But if you happen to be here today, and I hope you are, would love for you to say hi. All you got to do is just type in wherever you are, just type in the chat window. You can type a comment, but really the cool way to do it is go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. And so open that a new tab and then connect with Facebook, your StreamYard. I'm using StreamYard on my end. And once you say, okay, those two things are connected, then you can comment and I will see who you are and can comment back, and you're not a Facebook user, because I would love for you to comment and do like this guy right here, Stephen Patterson. Stephen, how are you doing today? Man, we need to catch up soon. And so just like Stephen's connected up, and so he can comment and I can see his comments, and all is well in the world. So anyway, if you haven't already, jump on there. But I want to talk to you today. Whoops, hang on a second. I want to talk to you for a few minutes today about new construction buyers. And it's a pretty important topic because, one of the things that realtors don't realize a lot is that new construction buyers are very different from pre-owned home buyers. We've talked a little bit about, and we'll do another session one of these days soon, about how the buyer journey is different with new construction. But another thing that you need to be aware of if you want to sell new construction is that the new construction buyers themselves are different than pre-owned buyers in some very significant ways. And when I first discovered this, it completely changed the way that I was approaching and the way I was understanding this whole process from a buyer standpoint. And I'd never built a house yet, still haven't yet. Cindy and I plan on doing it in the next couple of years, but we haven't yet. And so once I do it, I might have a little bit different perspective on it still again. But we began to study new construction buyers. And one of the things when I really got into new construction, I wanted to understand, well, who is this new home buyer and what makes them different or unique? Because it's really important for me to understand, once you understand the new construction buyer, you understand how to reach them better, you understand how to attract them, how to work with them, what they want from you. And so this became a very deep dive for me for quite a long period of time. Back to when I was realtor with Coldwell Banker and after we were doing Hoodle. And I'll tell you what, there's two or three primary resources where I really began to understand this. And one is an article that I'm going to share with you today. It's not an article, it's a survey that was done by a lady by the name of Masumi Sarkar. And I've got to know Masumi on a personal basis. Masumi worked for the National Association of Home Builders, their research division, for many years. And so she was deep into who is the new home buyer and what makes them tick, and the way they think about things. And then she left there, went to work for American Housing Society, the U.S. Census Bureau, and did this massive research about new construction buyers. So taking her research and our research, we had two teams that we put together as Hoodle to go out specifically and survey and talk to new construction buyers. And then I've talked to hundreds and hundreds of new construction buyers myself. So based on all of that, I've got about 10 tips that I want to share with you really briefly today. That if you got a pen, if you got a paper, I'd be jotting these things down. And don't do it if you're driving, but jot some of these things down and then take it and go apply it, because you'll really start to see a difference in the way that new home buyers are responding to you and your ability to attract them. So here's the things that I want to share with you about new construction buyers. First of all, and so I'm going to run through these very quick. First of all, new home buyers tend to be a little bit more affluent. Not always, and you can't say this by person or family by family, but in general, they've got a little bit more money to spend. Sometimes they've got a lot more money to spend. Okay, and so they are more invested in the home. They've got more, what's the word I'm looking for? They've got more ability to pick and choose what they want in a home. They may not be able to build a Biltmore Mansion or a Taj Mahal, but they're more affluent. So they've got a little bit more money to spend, sometimes a lot more money to spend. Number two, new construction buyers tend to be educated. So a lot of times they've got a bachelor's degree, or many times they've got a master's or higher education. So they've studied their field of specialty, whatever it is, and kind of goes hand in hand, I suppose, with them having more money to spend. But thirdly, they tended to be very, what I would call, discerning. I used to say that they were opinionated. Now, again, these are not this is partly my research, but a lot of it's research that was done by Masumi and others with the NAHB and American Housing Society. And I've still got that report if anybody wants to see it. It's a little dated, but it's very, very good. But, I used to say that new construction buyers are opinionated, but I don't think that's really the right word. I think the right word is discerning, that they want what they want, and they want to know their options. Now, if I were you, I would be writing that down. Okay, because they're discerning, because they have more money, they want to know their options when it comes to building a house. This is a very important point, because in real estate today, the way that we, as realtors, the way realtors are interacting with new construction buyers and with the new construction process, we're not really showing them most of their options, but they want to know their options. Okay. And I'll save that for another conversation. But if you guys have been around at any length of time or heard me talk at all, in every MLS across the United States, there's a massive number of new home neighborhoods that are missing from the MLS. There's a massive percentage of home builders that are missing from online presence. They're not on the MLS, and they just can't be found, or they're not well known. They're flying under the radar. So neighborhoods and builders and new home realtors are very often very difficult for a new construction buyer to find. This is a big problem, because the new construction buyers want to know their options. Now, in a real sense, basically all of us do these days. I mean, the way that we are as consumers, we want to know our options. If I'm going to spend $60 or $70 these days, maybe $100 these days on a pair of tennis shoes, I want to know what my options are. I may not want to try on every pair, but at least I want to know what are, at a high level, what are my options. And the bigger the purchase, the more complex the purchase, as consumers, the more need we have to really dive in and understand our options, because the ramifications are greater. If I make a wrong choice on a movie ticket, it's one thing, it's only a couple of hours of my life. If I make a wrong choice on tennis shoes, it's only $70. If I make a wrong choice on a new construction home, massive. And the building of a new home is arguably the most complex purchase that anybody ever makes. It's far more complex than buying a used home. Well, now when it comes to buying a used home, as a as a pre-owned home buyer, basically I can look at Zillow, I can look at Realtor.com, I can look at many web portals and find exactly what I'm looking for. I can reach out to any realtor. Every realtor has access to the MLS, can go on and do the search for me and plug in exactly what I'm looking for: 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2.5-car garage. You want to spend $350,000 to $400,000, blah blah blah, and say, here, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, here's everything that's on the market today that meets your exact criteria. And so with pre-owned homes, we can do that, and we just take it for granted that that's the way it is, and they take it for granted. They know that they can talk to any realtor, and any realtor can access the MLS and give them exactly, here's what's available on the market today, right? When it comes to new construction, though, it's a far different process. And most of that information, literally over half of that information, well over half of the information about the neighborhoods and the builders and even the realtors who know something about new construction, it's missing. They can't find it. In fact, as realtors, we can't even find it either, which is part of the reason why we started Hoodle. So they're affluent, they're advanced educated, they're discerning. They want to know their options. And here's a fourth point that I think is really important, that the new construction buyers, because of all these things, they also, when they're building a house, when they choose to, hey, honey, hey, let's go build this house, let's do our dream home, they want to have their, and I don't know the best way to put this, but they want to have their fingerprint on the design of that house. Now, they may not want to pick out every wall plate. They're not going to. Somebody might. They may not want to, know everything, where the wires and where the wall jacks are going and everything. But at least they want to have their fingerprint on that design. Maybe it's that they want to pick the backsplash, they want to pick the floors, they want to pick the carpet, they want what they want. And so it goes back to the same thing. They want to know what their options are. So now, when buyers very oftentimes go to production build, and they go into a production build neighborhood, and those are many times they're wonderful, beautiful neighborhoods, great builders, great homes, and they put them up quickly. But always with a new construction buyer, they generally want to have their fingerprint on this. So in other words, they may not want to pick out everything, but they want to be able to say, hey, we picked this, we chose the cabinets, the doors, the whatever, right? So that's an important thing to remember. Here are a couple of other things to remember about new construction buyers. One, they're very quality focused, because they've got a little bit more finance, they've got a little bit more at stake. They are very quality focused, and here specifically is the number one thing that they're focused on. They're very interested in, and when surveyed, and they've surveyed over 1,000 people, Masumi did, and we did, and the U.S. Census Bureau, and the number one thing that buyers say that caused them to choose where they chose was the community, it's the neighborhood. So, and it's about the quality of life in the neighborhood. So if I were going to write something down, I'd be writing that down. It's about quality of life, it's about community. Okay. Even before the house itself, even before the builder, are we going to use this builder, that builder, that builder? Are we going to use a realtor? Or we're not going to use a realtor? Which realtor are we going to work with? The one that they chose comes down to, first and foremost, the community. So this is something that I think when you begin to put these data points together and start to realize this, it will change the way that you're approaching new construction buyers, the way you attract new construction buyers, the way that you're adding value to new construction buyers. And if you know what Hoodle is, and if you're familiar with that, you start to see why we chose neighborhoods as being the central focus for new construction buyers, because it's their number one thing that they cannot find. They can't find about 70%, 65, 70% of neighborhoods, new home neighborhoods, are not listed. They're not on the MLS. And so you just have to know that this one or that one are there, but they want to know those options, right? So quality of life and the quality of the community is number one for why they chose where they chose. Secondly is the quality of the house itself. So quality of the community, and in the quality community, they're specifically looking for the amenities of the community, in the community and around the community. They're looking for proximity to work. They're looking for quality schools. Everybody looks for quality schools. But new construction buyers are absolutely the same. And a last few things here that I want to share with you that I think are really important here. New construction buyers tend to network highly. Partly this is because they are researchers. They want to know their options. They can't find their options. And so one of the things you will always discover about new construction buyers is they're finding their information from other new construction buyers. So if you're following with me on this, I would be jotting this down and thinking about, okay, if I want to find new construction buyers, very often I can find them through other previous new construction buyers. They connect together. They talk to each other. New home buyers are going to other new home buyers, other people that they've known who built, and saying, who did you build with? What did you like about that process? What didn't you like? Who should I build with? What neighborhoods? And and that really begins to tell us, it begins to inform us as realtors what they're looking for from you. So many times realtors are like, well, I don't know. I don't know if I provide any value in the new construction process. I don't know if I'm needed. Maybe the buyer can just go work with the builder themselves. No, they can. And the builder is very happy to do that. But what the buyer wants, and probably even more than a pre-owned home buyer, a new construction buyer wants from you a guide. They want you to be their fiduciary. They want you to be their guide. They want someone who is going to go the distance and help them figure out all of these things. Number one, where should I build? What are my options on where I should build this house? They generally know the what. When by the time somebody chooses to build and they're going, okay, and by the way, about 60% of all home buyers across the United States, all home buyers, around 60% year in, year out, will, when surveyed, will say, I'd rather have a new home than a used home. So most people would prefer to build some time. Everybody, or a lot of people, 60% of them have a quote, a dream home. And part of that idea of a dream home is a new dream home. And so there are a lot of new construction buyers out there. And they, in doing that though, they want somebody to guide them through that process. And specifically, what they need the help with, first and foremost, is the neighborhoods. They want to know, well, what are my options? So if they know what they want to build, let's say I want to build a ranch home and I want a walkout basement and I want a tennis court in the neighborhood and I want a horse stable nearby and I want a library nearby, someplace for the kids. So that determines the context or where the house could be built, right? What neighborhoods are near a library? What neighborhoods have a tennis court? What neighborhoods have a walkout basement? Where can I have the size lot where I can build a 3,000 square foot ranch? And the problem is that most of those neighborhoods are not listed. They're not on the MLS. So it's a problem, but it's also a massive, massive opportunity for you, because any realtor that steps into this problem becomes a game changer for them. And where you're really going the distance and showing them, hey, look, folks, I understand how important it is for us to pick the right neighborhood and not just the easy neighborhood, right? What a lot of times realtors are doing, and I'm not picking on anybody, but it's just human nature. We go to the MLS, and that's what we're trained to. We're trained to go to the MLS to look what's available. And if we go to the MLS and we click it in, okay, I'm looking for available residential lots. And I go, okay, here, John and Susan, here's the 3 neighborhoods where we could build that house. Guess what? That only represents a small fraction of what's actually available. There are more that are not on the MLS. So what the new construction buyer wants from you, they want you to be their guide, and they want you to be their fiduciary. Okay, even more than a pre-owned home buyer. And by the way, pre-owned home buyer basically can pick any realtor under the sun, because all realtors are dealing with pre-owned homes. All realtors are selling everything off the MLS, anything off the MLS. They'll take any kind of buyer, and they want to treat all buyers the same. New construction buyers are fundamentally different. They need your help. They want your help, and they want a guide who's going to walk them through the process. And when you begin to articulate, when you begin to understand that, and you begin to articulate that to buyers, that, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, tell you what, if you've kind of expressed to me that you'd like to build someday, if you'd like to do that, I specialize in new construction, and I will walk you through that entire process. And here's what the process looks like, and begin to lay out that process for them. And you will find, more often than not, many of those buyers who you didn't know were a new construction buyer will begin to say to you, hey, you know what? We talked about it. We decided we would rather build. If you're actually going to walk us through the process, this is something we've been wanting to do for a long, long time. We've never found a realtor who's been able or is willing to do it. And so absolutely, we would love to have you walk us through the process. Kim, good to see you. Glad you're here. Stephen, thank you for that comment. I'm glad you're doing well. We're doing well too. So in wrapping up, last couple of things here. New construction buyers are highly networked. They want a fiduciary. They want a guide. And when you step into this role of being their guide and truly being a fiduciary to them, being a consultant who is looking out for their best interest, not just taking the easy path. Well, here's 3 neighborhoods. Let's just pick one of those. Here's a builder over here. Let's just go with that builder. You need to research the builders in the neighborhoods so that you can understand the inventory and understand the process, and why, for a particular buyer, this builder is better than that builder. This floor plan may be better than that floor plan, even though they may already have a floor plan in mind. These neighborhoods may be better than the one that they already drove by. And very oftentimes they're neighborhoods that they're available, but they're not on the MLS. And that was a big reason why we created Hoodle. And it was a big reason why my personal business exploded, and why yours can too. The last thing I'll say about new construction buyers is that new home buyers, when we've surveyed many of them, and we said, well, what was that experience like? Tell me about the experience of building a new house. And I advise that all of you should write down a handful of questions and begin to interview people who built a house before. You absolutely should. Everybody that you've met or you meet that has built a house in the past, or is going through the process, or is wanting to go through the process, you need to interview them. And one of the things I love to ask them is, what was that experience like when you did it? And people use words like, and they use phrases like, it was a life experience. They will talk about their wedding. When I got married, I didn't know what to expect. We didn't know what to expect. It was the same thing when we built a house. When we had our first child, we didn't know what to expect. We were terrified, but we were excited and couldn't wait to meet our baby. But we were terrified. It was scary. And we didn't know who to ask questions to. And we didn't know what books to read. And we didn't feel like we were prepared, but we did it anyway. Okay. And people will compare the building of a house, their dream home, especially with those 2 things, with having a child, their first child, with getting married. for the first time, or maybe any time. They didn't know what to expect. And so we start to see that this is a big, big undertaking for people. It's a very emotional experience. It feels much riskier to them than buying a home that's already on the market. And it's harder to find a realtor. It's way, way harder to find a realtor. As you guys know, less than 1 in 1,000 realtors across the United States actually specialize in new construction. And by specialized, one of the ways we look at that is how many realtors are doing more than 1 or 2 new home transactions a year. And it is less than 1 in 1,000 realtors in any market that we've studied. And we've studied over 25 or 30 major metro markets. Less than 1 in 1,000 realtors is doing more than 1 or 2 new home transactions a year. So it's a wide open space for you to step into this with a new set of lenses, new perspective, new set of eyes in the way that you're going to go after new construction buyers, the way you're going to serve them, and the way you're going to win them over. And when you do this, when you understand these basic things I've shared with you, they will reward you by giving you referrals. Because what I said earlier is absolutely true. When you serve one, new construction buyers all talk to each other because they don't have a whole lot of good resources to go to on the web to find out who should I build with, where should I build, who's the realtor I should work with, what are the things I should be looking out for, what was difficult about the process, would you do it again, how would you do it differently? They don't have a whole lot of good places on the web to go find those things out, so they talk to each other. Okay, so guys, I hope that was helpful to you. I hope you got a couple things out of it. It's a quick training that I wanted to do today. There's a lot of information in there, but if you step back and take 1 or 2 of those things and apply it this week, you will go out and you'll win your next new construction buyer. And by the way, if you didn't hear me say it before, about 60% of all home buyers would rather have a new construction home than a pre-owned home. All you got to do is ask, and then let them know that, hey, if you want to do that, I'm your huckleberry. I will help you through that process, and I will guide you through that process. I don't know it all, and it can be challenging, it can be scary, but I will work with you through that all the way from day one to closing day, and they will absolutely love you for it, and they will reward you by sending you more and more people that are talking to them who also want to build a new home. So guys, I hope that's helpful for you today. And if you're in the New Home Niche Blueprint group and you're wanting to find out more about, how can I ramp this thing up? How can I grow my new construction niche and start making more money with it and getting more new construction buyers and attracting builders and developers to list with, reach out to me. Just DM me. I'm happy to get on a call with you or a Zoom call, or I can invite you to one of our webinars that we're doing. Our next webinar, we're going to do a training webinar, which is like an introduction training webinar for new construction. We're doing on Sunday night at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Would love for any of you to join. Ping me on Facebook, and I'll send you an invite link to have you into the training webinar. Last thing I will say, if you want that report, so I told you there's a report that is several years old, but it's a powerful survey, and so there's a lot of data in it. If you'd like that, reach out to me for that purpose as well, and I'll send you the report from Asumi. I don't think you can find it today, and honestly, I don't believe that anybody else that I know of is really diving deep into this kind of research. So it's very important that we understand this. So guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. Hope you have an amazing week, and more than anything, just go out there and be amazing for somebody else. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Kim. I'll talk to you guys later. Oh, Affiliate Realtors, tomorrow morning, Thursday, be on Zoom with me. Join me in the Zoom call when we do our weekly training at 9:30 Central Standard Time. Hope to see you there. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.